Okay, I pulled out the scone dough. It's been in the refrigerator for about an hour. The other things I have here are some egg wash. That's the egg left from previously. I have a pastry brush, although you don't need to have a pastry brush. You could use your hands. And then I have this container of sanding sugar, which is a little bit coarser sugar than the other sugar I gave you. And this is what we're going to sprinkle on top for a garnish. So the first thing I'm going to do is, using another piece of parchment, I'm going to flip this over. It's just a little bit of an easy way to get a very smooth surface. So the other thing we need is a sheet pan for baking. Doesn't matter the size as long as you can spread the scones out. What's important is not to use a silicone mat. Silicone mats are great for many products, but this is not one of them. Silicone is an insulator, so it will slow down the baking. We actually want this product to bake quickly. So I gave you a bunch of parchment in your pickup yesterday. So we're going to put it on parchment paper. So flipping it over, I have this nice rectangular piece that I could choose to cut in many different shapes. Traditionally, scones are cut in a circle. I'm not going to cut them in a circle though. Why? Well, when you cut something into a circle, you're going to have scrap. Then you need to put the scrap together and re-roll it. Every time you do that, the dough gets tougher and tougher. So I'm going to choose to do a shape that won't give me, I'm just going to make this just a little bit thinner. You could use a rolling pin if you want, but it's actually quite easy to push down. So a couple of shapes that are really common now are triangles or squares. So I think I'm going to cut these into squares. Again, the reason I'm not cutting them into circles is to try to reduce the scrap. So actually, just so you can see a variety, what I'll do is one of them I'll cut into squares. Something like that. And one of them here I will cut into triangles. So if I have any that are not the right size, I'm just going to bake them anyway. So I'm going to transfer these to my baking sheet and give them a little bit of space in between. We are going to bake these hot. It's going to bake about 400. So the scones should rise and not go into each other, but we still need to leave a little bit of space in between. Okay, once I have the scones on the sheet, I'm going to wash them with egg. So it's very convenient to do that with a pastry brush, but if you don't have a pastry brush, you can just rub it on with your fingers. It's really best to brush just on the surface and not let it run down the sides. The reason for that is egg acts as glue, and if you get too much egg on the side of the scones, it will hold them back from rising. Okay, once I have the egg wash on, I'm going to sprinkle them with sanding sugar. The sugar that you received in your kit was Baker's Special sugar. But that's not a good choice for the top of the scone because it will dissolve too quickly in the egg wash. And this sugar will stay, and you can put on whatever amount of sugar you want depending on your how you want it to look and taste. There's very little sugar inside the scone, so this will add a tiny bit of sweetness and will give it some shine when it's done baking. My oven should be preheated now, so I'm going to put it immediately into a 400-degree oven. I'm going to turn it around after about 10 to 12 minutes, and it will take somewhere between 15 to 18 minutes to bake. Again, it depends on the size of your scone. Okay, and here are the scones in the exact same spot. Took them out of the oven. I baked them at 400 degrees, 12 minutes. I turned it around and set it for 6 minutes. Should probably be about 2 minutes less. Depends on your oven, but they look like they're going to be quite delicious. So I just wanted to show you these scones because I didn't mix them very long after the flour went in. After I combined the liquid with the flour. They are so tender. They're just falling apart with almost no pressure. I mean, I can't show you on the video, but they are extremely tender. So be very careful that you don't mix too long after you add the liquid to the flour. I think I didn't emphasize that when I was doing it, but that's really important.